keep changing. It's really... Hello, and it's time to celebrate, Karen. I want to be like the F1. Could just get it off a shaking. Shh.
It's a bit too early for a drink, Cheryl. It's nice to have a bottle of bubbly, but maybe later. We'll see.
It's 6 o'clock somewhere. It's 6
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is.
International booksellers. So welcome everyone who's coming on live. But Karen, you've done it. You are here for the launch of the second edition of the Book Marketing Made Simple. So just take a moment, because I know I can't wait to get mine. I've ordered mine today. If you haven't, please, if you're just, we're waiting for a few people to come on, but please, the scan thing is there. Please scan me. I know that Karen's got a lovely link that she can put up in a moment on the scroller bar at the bottom. But you're here. The book's launched. It's on Amazon. The planner's there. I know, because I've ordered both of mine and they're due to arrive on the 1st. So that's Sunday. So I will have them in my hands and I'll be ready to go. So, but you have been so busy over the last few weeks.
Yeah. So I'm losing my voice a little bit today. I've just given a talk at lunchtime as well, where I was croaking my way through it. So yeah, it's been a little bit busy, and I've probably been doing a little bit too much. Let's be honest. I'm not going to focus on that today. I'm going to focus on the celebration, because it's always nerve-wracking. I've been awake since 3 o'clock this morning. It's always nerve-wracking when you launch a book, even when you've done it 10 times.
Yeah,
it doesn't go away. The nerves doesn't go away, and they don't go away. So yeah, but it's really exciting to be here, and thank you, Paul, as well, for being here.
Paul's in, and he must be in our Author's Journey Facebook group. So those of you who are not there, please come and join us on Facebook. I've been very privileged to be part of every single book that you've ever launched, right back from the very first one. Hello, we have a Facebook user. We're afraid you haven't got your name on it, but please feel free to pop your name. It'd be great to see who you are. If you've got questions for Karen, please add them in the chat, because I've got some that she's asked me to ask her, but I can just go off script and ask her anything you'd like to know while you're here as well. But this is the first time that you've launched it using a live feed, which, because you've done a party. We did a party, didn't you? The first one. I remember that at a hotel. You had another hotel party. You've done a networking and training event. That was the Mouse That Roars, because we did that. You've done a quiet, I'll just put it out there, and not really did much to launch it. There's been a couple of those along the way. This has been, I think, and those that are watching, if you've got anything you want to say, we've got someone that's bought the book this morning. Fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Steve's here too. Fab. It's so thank you. Please, can you just put down here either something you'd like to know from Karen, but I think also, can you share what you love about her? Because I have to say, this lady has just pulled out every stop. She's launched a book on marketing, but she has done absolutely everything that she talks about in this book. Like, she's followed it to the nth degree, to the point that she is exhausted right now. And what did you say? After this, you want to go away and lay in a dark hole somewhere, just to sort of recuperate.
Lay in a dark room somewhere.
Dark room. Yeah. Don't know a hole. Maybe just a room. That'd be better. And I think that's the important thing, is that it does take energy, doesn't it? It takes planning, it takes strategy. So tell those that perhaps don't know already about it, what is this book about, and why did you do a second edition and launch it in the way that you have this time?
Gosh, well, I originally wrote Book Marketing Made Simple in 2000. Well, it was launched in 2017, so I wrote it during 2016. It was my 5th book at the time, and it was basically when I wrote Your Book is a Hook, which was the 3rd book. There was a chapter on marketing, or a section on marketing, and actually marketing is a really big topic. You can't really do it we can't really do it in a book, to be fair. It's such a big topic. I realized that needed to be a book by itself. So I wrote the book focusing on 3 different areas of book marketing: pre-launch, launch, and post-launch. But things have changed in 6 years since I published that. Things have changed hugely. Dare I say it, COVID, ChatGPT, it's easier than ever to publish a book. Gosh, there were so many reasons why it needed to, so many tools out there now, and so much tech that I use and a lot of my clients use. I've got more stories, I've got more experts. So Steve Bimpson's live, Paul's live, they both contributed to the book. Paul shared his crowdfunding experience. Steve is an expert in websites, SEO, so he shared his expertise in both editions as well. So there's so much to change. So we went away, didn't we, Cheryl, in March? Went away to a cottage for a week, and I thought, let's review the book. Let's sit down and see what needs to happen. I thought it needs a little bit of an update. I was on Alison Jones's podcast early this week, and I said to her that pretty much it's been an 80% rewrite from start to finish, because I started rewriting it. Then I realized that my language, my voice has changed in that time as well. And I knew that I wanted to write differently, and I wanted to include new things in it. And that's really where it's evolved. So it has been quite it's been quite quick. I have put aside some time, purposely put aside some time this year for it. But I'm glad it's out there, and I'm glad it's done.
I think it's I certainly remember being on the retreat with you when you turned around and said, I think I was just about 20%. It's about, I don't know, 5 or 6 chapters that need to be updated. And then of course, as you started going through it, you went, oh, that one needs updating. Oh, that one needs updating. Oh, there's another chapter that needs to go in it, which I think that's quite typical of book writing, though, isn't it? You kind of think, oh, it's easy, and it's not until you start going through the process you realize just how much you've got to say. I just want to pick up on this. One of the Facebook users, I'm sorry that I can't use your name, but that's what's showing up on the screen, is she says that Karen's an inspiration and slightly intimidating. And I want you to know that you're not alone with those feelings. Now, bearing in mind, I partner and I work alongside Karen. I want to know
who said that.
It wasn't me, I can assure you. But I was in awe of you. And I will say that I can't obviously speak to exactly what you mean by you're slightly intimidated, but it resonated with how I was feeling. So I was like, oh my God, there's so much pressure now to do it properly or there. But what I will say to you is Karen does this so that you could learn from her. And so I do know that the book is very simply written. And with the planner working alongside it, which I think is the next one to ask you about why you created the planner, it does give you a very simple step-by-step process to follow, doesn't it, Karen? So you can do it. And it does remind me to say that we will be having a final episode to this series on the podcast where I get to interview Karen, where she tells you all about the blips, all the things that went wrong, all the stresses behind the scene, because actually that's life, isn't it? The reality, the lessons that you learned this time round and things you do differently.
Yeah, I've learned so many lessons. I think doing the planner wasn't supposed to happen. So the planner was a bit of an accident. I work alongside Tracy Harris, who's my business manager, used to be my VA. And it was back in the summer. She said to me, "You're doing a planner." I've done 2 planners before. So I'll give them a quick plug. I've got the business book planner and the book writing journal that I launched almost 2 years ago. And she said to me, "Are you going to do a planner?" I went, "Oh shit, let's be honest," because I thought it's a really good idea, but there's another job to do. I learned from Naomi Jane Johnson, who's also in the book, to create the initial planner and journal. So I had the templates. It wasn't too difficult to do, but it also meant the book was slightly revamped. So the first edition of the book, it had some exercises in the book, but this time I've taken it out and put it in the planner. So they are very much standalone, but the planner follows the book. And the planner is a really great innovative tool because it really makes you do it. Because I know that reading Book Marketing Made Simple, you're going to get loads of ideas, loads of insights, loads of thoughts. And actually, you need somewhere to take action. If you're anything like me, I've got tons of Post-it notes on my desk. Don't even look at my desk at the moment. I've got notes everywhere. And actually, but when you can put everything in one place, that's where the magic happens, because you've got a working document. You know, I know people who came on the retreat who they have their planner literally on their desk, and, you know, my fast track clients, because they know how powerful it is to have everything in one place.
Yeah. And it does that. I remember I've used the business book planner as well. And I think we forget what we know. And when it's actually in one thing about it being in a book that's a planner, unlike the Post-it notes, you don't lose them. Because I don't know anybody else, I find Post-it notes peel off and disappear. Whereas if you've got them in the book, you've got it there cemented, and it's something then to help you go through. It was actually Jill who was saying that slightly
I saw that, yeah. Well, the thing is, what I will say is I have followed as Cheryl mentioned, I followed my process to the T. So this is how you do. If you want to go full out with a book launch, this is how you do it. I did the podcast as well. Again, that was a little bit of an accident, but a happy accident. And I've really enjoyed doing it. And I'm sure there'll be a second series, more on that another day. But I have literally, because I suppose I'm walking my talk. It's like anything, you know, if you're writing a book, dare I say, Jill, on retirement, you probably want to walk your talk. You are walking your talk because you start embodying and embracing your own process. So I've done exactly the same with my book. I've looked at, okay, so if I was teaching this exactly right, exactly following the process, this is what I would teach, but you don't have to do everything that I've done. Really don't. And just pick, excuse me, a couple of things and do them well. As she said, her voice disappears.
Actually starts to fade at the end there. And I think it's important though as well to remember to ask, because I think the one thing that's been really different on this one to previous books, and I'm just noticing the mute sign, so I'm just going to keep talking for a little while and give Karen time to get her voice back, is that you've really used a team this time. So you've got Tracy as your business manager that's been out to behind the scenes helping you. You've got people doing the design and uploading the stuff to Amazon for you. And you've had the street team. And this is one particular thing that's been different this time round, isn't it? It's I think you've had it on a smaller scale before, but can you tell us a bit more about the street team and how they've helped you with this particular launch?
Well, it's interesting. One of the things that I knew was missing from the book was mentioning, street team has become much more popular over the last few years. And although I've done something similar before, as you said, Cheryl, I've not done the formal street team. So when I did my research about it for the book, I thought actually it's a really great thing to do myself. So I basically, and to be fair, I haven't gone out to as many people as I planned to go out to. I've just looked at people who I know have got a really great network, who have probably collaborated, many of them have collaborated on the book, and they just want to help at the end of the day. And I couldn't have done this without the street team. So I thank every single one of them who's helped me, because it's been amazing to actually, I've hardly had a chance to look on Facebook and LinkedIn or Instagram, certainly not Twitter today. And actually I've got so many, I had a quick look before this live, and it's amazing how many people are out there. And I thank all of you. I'm getting quite emotional now, because nobody can do it alone. When you're writing a book, you need a team. It's like, I know Cheryl's always there. Tracy was on the end of a call earlier when I had a little bit of a meltdown. No, minor meltdown. More on that on the podcast. We'll talk about what went wrong. So it's, having that team is just so important, and being able to reach out to people like Paul, who brought me back on his podcast for the second time, and Alison, and new people like Erica as well. I was on her podcast a couple of weeks ago, Rob, who invited me on his YouTube channel. So things like that's just incredibly powerful to but it is reaching out, and it's talking, and it's communicating, and actually it's about marketing your book as you write it, which is what I teach in the book.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. And on my brain, I'm reading those comments, listening to you, and like trying to really doing the listening detective, trying to work out the next question. So just bear with me, because I want to. There was somebody here that's just looked at the checklist. Do you know anyone that will do all that for me? I would say to you, please message Karen on LinkedIn or here on Facebook, and just tell us which bits of those checklists, because I'm sure we do. Between our network, we'll know people that can help with that. I think Jill's spending a summer doing her garden, so she's embedding and doing the retirement and experiencing it for herself, which is great. And I just know that book is going to be so super useful to people. And also a question about sharing it on LinkedIn. So this video, it should be live on LinkedIn at the moment. And so you should be able to share this post. And if not, I've put a post out at 8 o'clock this morning. So go to Cheryl Andrews on LinkedIn, find my post if you want to, and share that, or write your own. Say whatever you've been thinking about today. And someone has just put a LinkedIn post up there, so it looks like they just found it. Now, Paul is surprised that he's on the team anyway, but he's an expert. But anyway, that we'll cover that one on another call, Paul. But there is something that's come to mind for me. I remember the very first book you wrote. And you did and I can't remember what it was called now, something about successful coaches.
And here's one I prepared earlier.
Success. What was it called?
The secrets.
There is something I think I need to model you at some point to find out how it is you have the courage to ask for help. Because my inference was actually, there's a little critic in my head that was going, God, do I know enough people to ask to help me in the way that Karen has? And I remember, and I don't remember his name because it's not coming to me, but there's a very successful coach that you contacted for that very first book. And you've asked people for help. You said, can I go on your podcast? Can you be on my stream team? And I think that you might take that for granted, but I don't know about anybody else that's listening in. It actually takes quite a lot of courage, I think, to ask other people for help. Maybe it's just me, or was worried that you're taking up time or whatever. And Paul is basically saying, yeah, but by you asking to come on the show, you added value to his show and you gave his listeners more insights and information. So it works both ways. Have you always been able to ask for help, Karen?
Well, you know my story. You know the Mouse That Rules story, which I did in my TEDx, and also did a book about. That I was incredibly shy as a child. It's taken a lot of courage to run my own business and do what I do today. And I know some of my mentors will say is, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. But sometimes it takes a while to actually say, and then I'm quite quick when when I actually do something. So I could be thinking about something for ages. There's something I just go off and do it quite quickly. But I've been thinking about it for a while. But gosh, I can't remember the question now. Have
you always been able to ask for help?
Probably not always, and maybe it depends on the thing. I suppose I'm getting used to it. Having a team around, really helps as well. Knowing that, so Steve, for example, he's been helping me out with, he does my website, so he helps me out with anything that I can't do myself. I've had Steve Randall do the podcast for me, do all of the editing and the production of that, so I couldn't have done that. When you've got a team around you who can do other things better than you, that's where the magic happens. I could not do what I do now without having a team, knowing that there are people I can rely on. Even today, when I knew that I was giving a talk earlier, I've got this Facebook Live, knowing there are people out there who I could just pick up the phone and say, have you got 5 minutes just to check my emails? Can you, just in case of any issues, just in case of any problems, that really helps. And people who are experts in what they do as well. I could have wasted hours trying to learn how to edit a podcast. Not my thing at all. So finding someone who could do that was key.
Yeah. And I think that comes back. I know Jill's had to buzz off now, she's saying, but I think that's also about, Remy, this is your 10th book. And so you've had 10 different kinds of launches, and you've learnt different ways of marketing the book. And so you've built it up over time, as have you the team, and also the connections, the people that you network with, that pool of people that you've been supporting over the last 15, 16 years that you've been a coach. That's built up over time. So I think it's important for anyone that's writing their first book, and maybe even sort of new to this whole marketing stuff, is that you start with, I think you said with a conversation we were having just a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? Start with 3 platforms and get them working well before you move on to something else. So whilst you have shown and demonstrated all of it in full colour with this particular launch, I would like to remind people that sometimes we just have to start. You're very often talking to me about imperfect action is better than no action.
Yeah, so, that's something I learned from Alison Marlowe, who's my mentor probably about 10, 15 years ago now. And that's one of the phrases that she said to me, and I interviewed her for the first book actually. And it was Duncan Brody that said, because I interviewed him for the first book, he said, choose 3 things when it comes to marketing and do them well. And I think I'm pretty sure I talk about it in Book Marketing Made Simple. I'm doubting myself now, but it is. But then once you've got them in place, you can layer them. So for example, I've got Brenna who does my social media for me. So, we have communications by WhatsApp, and then she puts everything out there, apart from some ad hoc. I've done quite a lot of myself today, but she puts the main core stuff out there. And you can build on it when you've got something that works. I've got my email list community. I've been emailing weekly since probably 2006. So again, once you've got something working and it works well for you, I'm a writer, you can then layer other things on it. But I will admit, I've probably done maybe one thing too many this time.
and I guess that's because your body's telling you otherwise right now. You're saying to me you're losing your voice, and I know you've had a bit of a lurgy a few days ago, which is obviously your body saying actually you're at max capacity. The good news is she's got a holiday booked, and we are going away shortly. So tell us a little bit more about the bonuses, because it is the 28th. It is the celebration today for this book, and if people purchase either the book or the planner, doesn't matter which one, is it? They can go to
both the book and the planner today.
Okay, so when you but so there's a book both. You have to book both of them, and then you put the Amazon code, don't you, onto this link where they scan here. Then they get some bonuses. So tell us a bit about the bonuses.
Yeah, so a few years ago, I ran the Book Marketing Challenge, which is a 30-day challenge, which I did live 2 years in a row, which basically, so you get all of the replays, recordings. I did Q&A webinars for those as well. And it basically gives you a lot of marketing tips, more in real time, because obviously in a book, you can only write what literally comes out of your head in the moment. But when you're asked a question on a webinar, all sorts of other things can pop up. So you get access to all of the replays, the audios, there's some bonuses within the bonuses. And there are 30 daily tips that you can choose. Again, you don't need to do every single one every single day, but you could literally look at you know, okay, I'm going to do one this week. Which one resonates with me? And it could be, I don't know, reaching out for someone to endorse your book. It could be putting a social media post out there. And actually, one of the things I've done in Book Marketing Made Simple, one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is what do you put out on social media? So hopefully with the book and the challenge hand in hand, you know, you should be able to find it easier, because it gives you ideas of what to say rather than just buy my book or pre-order my book. There's so much else that you could say. So that's one of the bonuses. I'm doing a masterclass next week, early part of next week, which is all about the foundations, which I talk about in chapter 2. Now, I know that when I'm doing the masterclass Monday evening, people may not have got the book by then, but that's absolutely okay, because I'm talking about the foundations you need to have in place first. Once you've got those foundations in place, the rest of the book will make so much sense, or it will make sense anyway, but it will be really spending that hour focusing on you, focusing on where you're at right now with your marketing. Have you done anything? Are you still writing? Have you published? What do you need help with? So that's the masterclass. And somebody mentioned the checklist. Now, the checklist is good thing to talk about, actually. It covers, I think there's 55 things on the checklist. You do not have to do all 55. You choose, and I'll talk about this on Monday, actually. You choose what you love to do, where your clients hang out, and focus on just a few things. So, for example, I did a couple of videos earlier this week to help with the launch, the one that's on the website and another one that I haven't actually shared on social media yet. And it took me about 4 hours to do 2 1-minute videos. That's not my thing. It's not the thing I enjoy doing. But conversations like this is just right up my alley. So, you know, with the checklist, just choose the right things. Don't do everything. It will become overwhelming. So just learn from that. Yeah. So that's the bonuses when people get the book and the planner today.
Yeah, I really recommend signing up and getting the Amazon link and sending it through to get the access to that 30-day marketing challenge, because I've done it twice with you, but when it has run live. And one of the things that I think is when you're really busy, if you're in this you're trying to get your brain into that part of where you're trying to work out things that happened years ago to write your own book, and you're busy running your business and you're actually working with clients, it feels like another task on your list. But if you just get a prompt, and you just have to look at it and go, actually, am I going to update my LinkedIn profile today? Yeah, that's one thing I can do. It just takes that decision out of it. It's just like, this is one thing I could do today. Am I going to do it or not? And when you've got 30 to choose from, even if you spread that 30 out over 90 days, if you did them all over a 90-day period, you'd be getting there with your marketing. And it's too easy, I think, to just not know what to do. But even when you've got time to do something, my order is placed, and whoopee, delighted the bonuses are coming my way. Thank you. That's Karen, Lorraine Senior here.
Lorraine's book will be out. Lorraine's one of my former Smart Author Fast Track clients, so her book will be out very soon. I don't know if Lorraine, have you got a launch date yet? I know you're working with the team to bring it out, so it'd be good to hear if you've got a date. So yeah, definitely fabulous. Marketing time. Perfect.
Fabulous. So we're coming up to about 20 past. We haven't got any questions specifically. I think today really is just about acknowledging you, Karen. You are an inspiration. And whilst it might be intimidating to see you do so much, so quickly, so well, it is also reassuring that you have put it all in a book and created a planner and a checklist and 30 days worth of prompts and providing a webinar with the foundations to make it easier, quicker, faster, and less painful for us. And I can't wait to talk about the wibbles and the wobbles and the things that didn't go so well.
Oh, that's a good title, Wibbles and Wobbles. What do you think?
Wibbles and Wobbles.
Perfect name for the podcast. So thank you for that.
Absolute joy. Did you want to put the ticker tape across the bottom now for the banner with the link? So if you haven't already got it, here's the link, www.bookmarketingmadesimple.com, or scan the QR code that's in the corner of the screen. If you haven't already got your book, please go and do that. If you've got anything wonderful to say about Karen and how she's inspired you with this particular launch and this marketing process, please put it out on social media now and copy that link in. Thanks for joining us today.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone. See you soon. Enjoy the books.